forest communities. Earlier that we have to coexist and successfully. We cannot have a successful Safcol operating in their neighborhood. So the social compacts formalize the interaction between the company and the communities so that we have a formal relationship. And through this compacts, ultimately having an economic impact or a positive economic impact on the communities. If the compact is not going to impact the communities positively, then it's not what we want to achieve. And Chair, we have signed 14 social compacts, and they are listed in this on the slide. I won't go through them, but they cover all the areas where we operate. And to date, we have managed to carry out quite a number of projects amongst these communities, and we have a good relationship with the communities. Ideally, if we had a very big, strong balance sheet, we would have done much more in terms of infrastructural advancements. But in terms of education, in terms of health, and we believe that if we strengthen this relationship with the communities, we are both going to be able to benefit. And for us to achieve that, we have to work closely with the responsible departments, our shareholder Department of Public Enterprises, the Department of Environment, Forestry and Fisheries, who we lease the land from, and the Regional Land Claim Commission. And those are the people who are responsible to facilitate the claims. And we believe that for us to strengthen the relationships, we have to make sure that we know who are the key stakeholders and ensure that the relationship works for all those stakeholders that have been at this are held to ensure that there's calibration in terms of where we're heading, so that all stakeholders are on the same wavelength. As we said, we have a task team that is consisted of ourselves and the represented departments. And we also have operational meetings where we want to make sure that we participate in the land claims process. Even though, as I said earlier, that there are times when we realize that the claim has been settled and land has been transferred, and then we only realize a few months later, which we are working on with the Department of Environment, Forestry and Fisheries, so that we don't find ourselves in that position. And we have always provided mapping resources to the Regional Land Claims Commission, so that if we can influence the speed at which the claims can be settled, then we can, because it's in the interest of Safcol that the claims are settled timelessly, because then we know where we're heading. At the moment, it's a risk because if we don't know clearly where we're heading. But when the claim is concluded, then we know that we have an agreement, we have a partnership with the landowner, and then we have the common understanding of where we're going. Chair, I'll touch on quickly on the beneficiaries. As I said earlier, that the successful transfer was with the MMAMAHLOLA land claim, which was approved in 2001, and then last year, the land was successfully transferred in title to MMAMAHLOLA CPA. And DEF, we are engaging the community on post-settlement matters. That includes how are we going to partner with them so that we can derive maximum value and economic value out of the forest and how can they benefit by partnering with Safcol. And the business model is being discussed, and the business model is it's a standard model, but we adapt with the different communities because at times some communities require some minor changes to the model. And we are looking at the lease of the land whilst we discuss the economic partnership, but the lease, because the lease we are leasing currently, we're leasing with the Department of Forestry, but the land has been transferred, so we'll have to lease the land from MMAMAHLOLA CPA. So that we are in discussion to finalize or conclude the lease agreement. And the other one, Chair, is the ENTABENI community. We actually had a meeting with them yesterday, a very successful meeting with the community yesterday. There is the ENTABENI community is made up of 9 claimants communities, and they are all aligned. We agreed on the way forward yesterday that we are going to set up a joint working team. It hasn't been transferred to them officially. So whilst we are waiting for the transfer, we agreed that we are going to assume that the transfer will be happening soon. And we have already identified how we are going to work. And we identified levels of cooperation with them. The first level is we have to start working, skill the people around the area in the communities. How do we make sure that we have capacity that will be in? So we are going to help them in terms of training the young people in the area. There's lots of supply chain opportunities that we discussed. Where the agroforestry and agro-processing opportunities, and we agreed that they will have to start thinking about setting up entities. And under our enterprise development projects program as well, we will consider them as beneficiaries. Looking for future developments in the area that we cannot just do developments without them on the land, but they will be given an opportunity to benefit economically. The Woodbush area, Chair, which is around Zanin, the Woodbush, the claim was lodged by a few communities, the Mahuba, Solobolo, and Batabine, Mujaji, Mantunya land claims. And we met with those that we have to develop a framework that's going to guide us in terms of working together going forward. So we're hoping that before we close for Christmas, that framework will be done, completed. It will be aligned with our model. And fortunately, the Forestry Sector Charter Council works with us in this community so that we cover all aspects with this community. Chair, we have the BLAIRMORE land claimants. We have Makubu family and the land claimants or the land committee that has requested to be accommodated. We worked with them and advised them that the best way is to work through the Provincial Land Reform Department. And they've done that, and we have accommodated them, and they are part of the BLAIRMORE Joint Committee Forum. And they are benefiting like any other land claimant. We're hoping to meet the bigger BLAIRMORE community before end of the year, because the Makubu family settlement process is quite advanced. So they've requested that we meet. And fortunately, Chair, most of the communities agree with us that it's important for Safcol to continue maintaining and managing the plantations. But the business side, which is the beneficiation side, that we should partner with the communities, because that's where the business part is happening. The managing of the forest is highly labor intensive, requires a huge balance sheet, very expensive, high risk. So we wouldn't want to expose the communities to such a high risk business. But we should prepare the raw material as a state-owned company and deliver the raw material to the community-based enterprises so that they can run their businesses sustainably and not set them up with forestry operations, which if there's fire, the entire investment is gone. Chair, we worked with Chivas Traditional Council closely. They started on a project for a nature reserve as early as 2012. But we concluded the transfer of the land to them so that they can operate that land to generate funds, to create jobs. We are just awaiting for the dev processes to complete so that they can start with the investment on the land. But we are neighbors working well together. We support them and they support us because they are the eyes, Safcol's eyes, because they live months or closer to the plantation. So they are closer to the plantation than we are. So we have a very good relationship with the traditional council and the community. Chair, the concluding slide, if I can go through it quickly, that we are committed to the transformation of the industry through partnerships with communities. We work with the industry to transform the industry. The industry is behind in terms of transformation. That even talking about involvement of women and youth, that is lacking. So we are working hard on that to ensure that in the areas of partnerships that we have realized to be a fit or the win for both ourselves and the communities is that we should be able to lease the land from the communities and pay in terms of wood and wood products manufacturing. We have identified a number of supply chain opportunities where the communities should be playing. And for the communities to be able to participate meaningfully, we'll have to help them to develop some of the enterprises in specific areas of processing. We are going to work with the communities on agroforestry and agro-processing, or we are working with them. And we are developing strategic partnerships in terms of forward-looking so that we have a solid relationship going forward, which would be a win-win relationship. We have an opportunity to develop the industrialists in wood processing, and we are doing that. And we are also considering advanced processing. We're working closely with CSIR. We have identified products which we refer to as set up those entities. So we are working closely with CSIR and the provincial government in Mpumalanga to start these projects so that when we have a tree, when you harvest a tree, we can utilize 99% of the tree. Currently, we utilize close to half of the tree, the other half we are not able to use. So for us, identified areas where we can produce products in the country, biochemicals, biofuels, adhesives, the list is endless. And that project is going to start in Mpumalanga and we'll take it to the other provinces. We support all government programs in terms of socio-economic development of the communities. We establish cooperatives in the communities so that communities can start learning how to collaborate and work together and achieve objectives in terms of business. So we're working very closely with the communities on establishment of cooperatives. And we believe that a successful rural economy is important for the national economic advancement. That's where the opportunity for economic impact is going to come from. And we plan to partner with communities on clean economy opportunities. There's huge opportunities in terms of the clean economy. And we believe that it's an opportunity for us to work with communities because they are in that space as we speak now. And we can't have clean economy and they are not included in that process. Chairperson, thank you for giving us an opportunity to present the status. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your presentation. I don't know, DG, do you want to add anything from the presentation before I can give back to the members of the parliament to ask questions? DG or any member of board?
Yeah, good morning again, Chair, and thank you for giving us the opportunity. What we just want to say on our side, we're quite pleased with the direction for the business. And then in not so too long a period, you'll get an opportunity to see the financials of this business. We'll see it reflects exactly the progress that I'm speaking to. With regard to land claims and the support that is being put together to enable the communities, we're quite pleased with what we have seen and the 14 community clusters that are being assisted in that regard. That's what we just want to indicate.
You're okay? Are you fine, members of the board? Okay.
Okay, we are fine. No comment on my side.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me give to the members of parliament to ask questions. Members, now I'm going to start with Honorable Smith, Honorable Ngwenya, Honorable Flute, Honorable Bibi. Honorable Smith, the platform is yours.
Thank you so much, Chair. Because we have had engagement in the previous parliament, you know, on these issues. So just to refresh our mind quickly, in terms of the lease agreements with the communities on whose land this forest estimated rent to that community, and what is the escalation of price per financial year? The second question I have is in terms of the transfer of the land. I hear that the land is transferred. Sorry, there's somebody else who's speaking now.
It's from your side.
No, it's not on my side. It's somebody else who's speaking.
Okay, can members mute their mic? And all ladies and gentlemen, can you mute your mic so that we can give the members to ask questions? Thank you,
Chair. The second question is in terms of the transfer of the communities, as heard, you know, I had the Makgoba community and so forth. Is this land transferred directly to the community, or is it kept in trust by some land claims that I came across? You know, I found a lot of cases where the land is kept in trust by government in a department and not handed to communities. In the same breath, you know, if I can use the example of the Makgoba community in Limpopo in around Zanin area. There's a lot of conflict amongst the community. And this is a general issue all over, you know, where we have communal land. How does that affect the stability of Safcol and the viability of Safcol? And our land anymore? What is the next move? And with that said, I want to know, you know, what is the viability going forward for Safcol? Because if we look at all the land that was owned by Safcol that is claimed by beneficiaries, and you know, of communities deciding that this is what they want to do, because obviously they've got a choice to do with their land what they want to do with their land, and they decide that they don't want to do forestry anymore, but they want to do some other form of agriculture or something else for that matter altogether. What will Safcol do then? To know in terms of you know, fire danger, because we've got these settlements close to it's a big danger, and the risk that exists, because, you know, children will play around and make fires, you know, whatever. So how do you manage that risk? And what insurance do you have to cover that? Because we know that you know, the forestry industry is not a 1 or 2 year investment before you get return on investment. Then I want to know, in terms of all these programs that is provided to community, is all the community, do they want the intervene to own you know, pieces of land individually? What's the feedback that is coming from communities that Safcol is engaging with? For now, and so that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Smith. It seems Mam Ngwenya is...
It doesn't have a mandate to negotiate land claims, and then the situation where land is transferred to communities without Safcol knowing this, and then also CPA is not functioning properly, and then subsequently with challenges in the process to understand or understand how the examples. So when we say land is handed over to communities through social compacts, I would like to know whether Safcol, in ensuring that the land is utilized, does Safcol have a role, and what role does it play after the land is There was also mention of business partnerships. I think it could be with the CPAs, if I understood it correctly, or with the Safcol indicated that the business side of these claims, or the successful claims, could be a problem for those communities. Safcol has a role to play, but practically, how will it play out? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Klute. Mam Winnie Ngwenya, Honorable Winnie Ngwenya. House Chair. Mama Ngwenya.
Chairperson,
Yes.
Chairperson, Honorable Ngwenya has a problem with connection. She's in and out of the meeting. I'm not sure if she's in now.
Oh, yes, she's not in. Okay, Mama.
Thank you.
Mama Bibi. Honorable Bibi.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. Excuse me. I'm still battling with my coughs and everything. You'll pardon me for that.
No, I understand. We understand. And
Okay, Mama. Okay, thank you very much, Chairperson. Firstly, I will say happy belated. Okay, I've got in slide 7 that you have signed 14 social compacts with the relevant communities. What I want to know is, besides the social compacts, has they following their successful land claims? And my second question, sir, will be, there had been reports before that there are communities who are not interested in any form of model partnership with Safcol, either because of outside influence or leadership differences, to accept your partnership model going forward. Thank you, Chairperson. Those are the two questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mama Bibi, and take it easy, please. I've seen Mama Ngwenya is back in the meeting. Mama Ngwenya, do you want to say something? No, it seems she still have a problem. Yeah. Let me say from my side, I just want to check with you because you said you have the cooperatives in the communities. My question is, I just want to check with you, in those cooperatives, did the women and youth and people living with disability are part and parcel of that cooperatives? And second question on the same cooperatives, did you capacitated the community to make sure that those cooperatives, they must not end up not making profit or die natural death? Those are my question. And Chair or the presenter or DG, last week, the Department of Agriculture have announced that they're leasing for the government land. I just want to know that, are your land that you are plowing or utilizing it, are you not affected? And if you are affected, what are you going to do? Those are my questions. And then my concern is on the CPA being fighting because of the functionality of the CPA. So when you say the land was transferred to the making those internal fight for the CPA future, those are my questions, DG and the Safcol. Thank you very much. And then if
sorry, that was for earlier. I'll wait for a response before any other questions. Thank you.
Okay, you can lower your hands, ne?
I've done
Mama,
that.
Mama Winnie, Ngwenya. Mama, I've seen your hand, Mama. Mama Ngwenya.
Questions through me, through an email, since she can't join.
Okay, because I've seen her hand is up. No, thank you very much, Sis Loli.
Thank you.
Now I'm giving back to the department and Safcol to answer. Over to you, DG and Safcol.
Yeah, if the solution can step in and the board members, then we'll come in
on the screen, because it's still there on the screen. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Sure.
I'll have to answer the questions, but I think I do need to clarify something quickly. The land that we're referring to, we ourselves don't own. The CEO alluded to at the beginning that because we don't own the land, the process happens without our involvement, and we get involved at the tail end, where we try to position ourselves to the community after the land claim has been resolved as a partner of choice, essentially. We can't dictate to them what they do with their land after it's been transferred to them. But what we want to try to achieve for the questions. Thank you.
CEO.
Thank you, Chair. I'll answer some questions. I think my colleagues, the CFO and the Chief Risk Officer will come in on the rental amount, but I'll answer the others and then they will come in where I haven't answered. The first question from Honorable Smith, it's regarding transfer of land, whether it's directly to the communities or to the trust. The only claim that has been successfully settled and transferred is the MMAMAHLOLA one. And the land has been transferred to the community under the leadership of the CPA. So there was a question about fights between the CPAs. Now, aware of those, you are stronger if you work together. And Safcol will partner with a body, not individuals. So Safcol will partner with the community, not individual people in the community. So similarly, we have managed to successfully convince or present a convincing model to the community, and they're happy with the model. And to the conflict from Honorable Member, that is mainly referring to Makgoba community. We had a meeting with them last month. We picked up some subtle elements of disagreements, but they've got strong leadership in the CPA. So we believe that leadership is going to provide guidance. And after we have concluded, signed off the framework, all of them, so that will have, it will be a guiding document on how we are going to work together going forward. And then the other question was whether there's a risk to Safcol. There's definitely a risk, honorable members. That is, we have identified that as a risk. It's on our risk register, because we may think that we know our future and only convince the communities that they go with them on the forestry business, or convince them that forestry takes too long, that they should look into converting the land into something else, use it for something else. There's still that risk. That's why we have decided that we are going to have an upfront engagement with communities. Because in most cases, those that approach the communities is because they want to make commercial or earn a commercial benefit for themselves, not really thinking about the community as such. So we work with the communities to, apart from educating them on business, but showing them that the partnership with Safcol will be a benefit to them going into the future. We need forestry land in the country. We can without forestry land. We are talking about planting more trees. The whole world is talking about planting more trees. So we should be able to protect the forest and continue protecting forest land, because where we operate, the land has been earmarked or identified as forestry land. And to change that land, it means that there's a risk, but we are managing it. The fire risk, we do have a risk in fire. One of the biggest risks in forestry is the fire, because if it really hits the forest, you may lose thousands and thousands of hectares of trees that you have spent more than 20 years looking after. So we do have certain level of insurance, but it's not the insurance that will replace the forest. It's insurance that will help us if there's affected parties whilst we're losing the forest. So the insurance that we do in terms of the forest is upfront we try by all means to protect the forests before the fire could happen. One is our activities in the forest. The other one is partnerships with the industry players, so that because if fire happens in a forest next to us, it will definitely come to us. Fire doesn't know any boundaries. So we work together with industry players. We also work with communities, so that if there's anything that happens around the forest, they are there to assist and educate the other people that burning of forests is not good because they benefit. So we train them, we train the communities on firefighting, and they do get a benefit from being part of fighting fires. So we use the three-prong approach, because putting money aside as insurance for a forest, that would be a lot of money. So we try and manage it upfront. And then the other question was our communities believing in working with Safcol, or believe in Safcol projects, the model that we table. I must say we're fortunate that I'm not sure what was happening in the many years ago, but since last year, the model that we've been presenting, the communities only made them. They love the model, and already they said they are ready to sign with us a collaborative or a partnership approach, because they saw the benefit that we don't want to expand them, but we want, as we drive business of Safcol, but they benefit by Safcol operating from there. So they really love the models that we have presented. I think from Honorable Member Smith, I think that's what I've picked up. If my colleagues, the CRO can take up the first question regarding the estimated rents.
Thank you, CEO and Chair. Thank you, honourable members. In terms of the pricing model, we, together with DAF, every 5 years obtain a market-related rental for our forestry land. We are currently busy with evaluation. The values at the moment is around 500 rands per hectare. And then maybe just to add, in terms of CPAs, Safcol does not play a role in the appointment of the CPAs, because those are legal entities that are. And then maybe lastly, we have not yet, as the CEO said, I think the question was from Honourable Modise, we have not paid any monies over to communities, because it's only the MMAMAHLOLA that has received their land, and we are in the process of negotiating that lease with them. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, ma'am. The CEO, you didn't answer the question of the cooperatives.
Yes, I'll take over again.
Okay,
and respond to the other questions. Honorable Klute, I think the question was the transfer of land. What example of challenges that we are faced with? Like we said, there's only one claim that was successfully transferred, which is the MMAMAHLOLA one. And the challenge we had there was we were in discussions with the Regional Land Commission Office and the Department of Forestry, in the build-up, during negotiations, during settlement discussions. But when that transfer was happening, we didn't know, and we only received a letter 2 months after the land was transferred, where we'd been informed that the land had been transferred. So it put us on the back foot, that then we have to be reactive instead of being proactive. And we have engaged the department, DEF, and rural development, that we shouldn't be working like that. So we agreed that we are going to improve communication going forward. So now what we do, we work together closely, that if anything happens, we all have the same information, so that we don't get surprises. And the likelihood that after settlement, that the community may opt for a different partner, it remains a value proposition or a compelling argument that says the communities are better to partner with us because we are going to offer more value, economic value to the communities than other people who would be competing for the same land. And we fortunately have agreed with the communities that would like to maintain the land as forestry land, apart from the law. But as we engage with them, they see the importance of having the forests so that we don't wake up one day that the forests are no longer there. We have land that is used for macadamia and other products because they know they've seen the importance of forestry. And then the role after the land has been transferred to communities. Ours is to make sure that when the land is transferred, we lease the land from the community. We partner with the community in terms of them participating on the supply chain, them being contracted after the forests in terms of maintenance, silviculture activities. If there's any sawmilling or processing opportunities that we have identified, like we are discussing in Zanini, they should be able to own or be a co-owner of a processing plant so that they start being real strategic partners. So they really love our model that is multi-layered. Honorable Member Bibi, the social compass. The question was what has been given to communities in terms of money. The social compacts are different from land claims. Land claims follow the process of Rural Development and Land Commission. And if it's successful, the land is transferred to the claimant. But with so that because they are our stakeholders, important stakeholders, so that we can contribute to their economic advancement. So we sign those compacts. It's not that they own the land, it's just that they are community laboring the land, so we partner with them on that basis. And the other question coming from Honorable Member was, how has Safcol worked with communities on partnerships? We are working with communities on partnerships, but after a successful land claim, we are now going to start because MMAMAHLOLA, as we said, is the first one. We have started working on the projects that we are going to roll out to partner with them, which they have in principle agreed with them. We just have to sign off on the agreement with them, which they said they are waiting for DEF to give them their rental money first before they sign an agreement with us. I'm not sure whether that we should read anything in that, but in principle, they said they are committed to working with us going forward. And Honorable Chair, your question about cooperatives, my colleague will come in, Hazel, but our cooperatives are focused mainly to those people that have been marginalized over many years. And they're driven by our office, like transformation office, which focuses on those people that have been marginalized, women and children, but in the cooperatives. And we want to make sure that in the cooperatives, we want to make sure that the cooperatives are sustainable, because it doesn't have to have a cooperative that's concluded and 6 months down the line is dysfunctional. So we have to provide leadership, we have to provide training, we take them through training, business management training, to ensure that they understand this is business. And then forestry land versus agricultural land. Fortunately, the two, we have the land that has been segregated, or it's it's a land that has been identified as forestry land, and we have agricultural land. So the agricultural initiative doesn't impact us, at least for now, because the forestry land is still forestry land. And then the CAP, we do the best we can to make them focus on the business at hand, but it's very difficult to manage the conflicts. We try by all means to be above the conflicts, but to try and pull the CPAs towards a business thinking that we should start working on the business and not on the divisions within the CPAs. So far, we managed to win when we are there, but we hear that when you're not there, there are some challenges. So we work with provincial government as well for them to assist where they can to assist, so that there's harmony in the CPAs. Chair, if I can ask Hazel to respond on the cooperatives, because you'll probably provide a more comprehensive answer. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, CEO.
Good afternoon, honorable members, and thank you for the opportunity that you've given me to respond on the cooperatives. I just want to indicate that over 90% of the cooperatives that were established in the communities are mainly owned by women and youth. These cooperatives are within the forestry value chain. We have cooperatives that have established furniture manufacturing hubs and also timber frame structures. Some of them are continue to support them through technical training and business development training. The other thing that we do, we put them in an incubation program which lasts for ±3 years. And in that incubation program, they are mentored. So it's a hand-holding for about 3 years. Most of the weeks, and also the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries in the past. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Members, before I give members, are you done from your side, the CEO and members of the board? Are you done? Can I give the members to ask?
Thank you. I think Chairperson of the board will check whether we exhausted. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Chairperson of the board.
I think we've covered all the questions. Thank you. I'll hand over to you, ma'am.
Okay. Any follow-up questions, honorable members?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, Honorable Smith.
Can I go, Chair? Can I go?
Yes, you can go.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Land per hectare. If you consider it's a community of how many people and the viability, you know, of that community surviving on such amount. Now we heard that this amount is paid to the land is transferred to the communities, then they will negotiate, you know, with the communities to obviously lease further. So I want to know now, in terms of affordable for Safcol to retain its business, you know, lease per hectare, if we compare that with, you know, what a community can get from other agricultural options that they can exercise, which I believe can be much more. Farming, the guys talk up to R1 million per hectare. You know, okay, that's not so yeah. I mean, That's the one thing. The other thing that I want to know is in terms of, which I actually failed to ask in the beginning, in terms of water scarcity, that is a big problem. How does Safcol plan to, to manage that situation? Because obviously, those trees use huge amounts of water and exhaust groundwater as well. So yeah, I think I just want to hear those two questions. Thank you.
Thank you. None. Can I give back to the department? Okay. Yes.
Sepa, you want to come through first? All right, Chair, maybe if I can just respond to some of the questions, to this question as well as the ones we had asked earlier, and I'll ask Sepa to come in on the system work is obviously managed by the Department of Rural Development, which is now obviously bundled together with agriculture. Is that these lands, this piece of land are put in trust, and they're put in trust to ensure that these lands are not lost in the leadership in CPAs entering into commercial arrangements that can lead to these lands finding themselves no longer in communities' hands. So that public enterprise, no Safcol dictates to communities. And the issue of conflicts in this, and see how it can be remedied. We have seen it in Alexco more specifically, and the kind of damage it can do, because while people are fighting amongst each other, and these lands are not being utilized to generate income for these communities. I hear what the Honorable Smith is saying with regard to the rate at which this land is being leased by communities, but that's a commercial rate that is determined by bringing in evaluator to determine it, and it's quite a significant portion of Safcol's outlay on an annual basis. And to suggest that these communities can receive a better commercial rates elsewhere, I think is not correct, because we have gone through this process many times with these communities. And also we need to look at a national interest here. It is important that the land that is under forestry, which is 1% of our, so the country can remain properly supplied with saw log and other products that are derived from it. What is critical going forward is a strategy that Safcol has put on the table to say that it is important that enterprises that are built up or that are set up on these properties, communities have a direct ownership in them, and that's what they are doing. Forest land has been privatized and strategic partners been brought in, and these tend to be established businesses which go around communities, promising them that they can give them better terms that what Safcol or government can provide them with. Is that the sources of major profits, which is on the processing side, are ring-fenced away from communities, and that's a fact. And we have seen communities per household getting saw logs that are taken, or rather that are sold in a very unfortunate transfer pricing system to the money-making arm, which is controlled by the strategic equity partner. And it's important that communities become aware of this, and as they engage with these communities, bring these test cases to them, so that they are not sold on ideas that they can get better lease rates from these commercial entities that come knocking on their doors. But from a national point of view, it's important that these properties remain within in forestry. And some of the things that we have said to Safcol is that some of the contracts, for instance, for silviculture and so on, they must prefer local communities in those. And Chair, you ask a question on the properties that are being leased by Department of Agriculture. These properties are mainly farms, Chair, that were acquired for distribution to obviously marginalized farmers. In the past, we really should not have benefited. We're benefiting from these leases. So the Department of Agriculture, in inviting, doing a public announcement for people to present themselves, is trying to preach or to address the problem that has been identified in the past. And as far as I know, Chair, none of these properties are forest related, and definitely none of them are linked to Safcol. But I think from our side, we do welcome that, and we hope most of our people will avail themselves to be able to farm. And we hope that further assistance, and I know there is an effort led by the Interministerial Committee on Land Reform, where assistance programs are being extended to these emerging farmers, so that they are provided with assistance with things like tools going forward. And lastly, Chair, I'll say just to reiterate the point, the issue of conflict in CPAs it's worrying, and we have seen that land unfortunately gets left unproductive as a result of that, and that's an area that we hope our colleagues will step in very strongly in rural development. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, DG. I don't know whether members, do you still want to say something? Because I think you have exhausted this topic. Honorable Smith, your hand is still up.
Yes, Chair, I can talk the whole day if you want.
No. Can you go ahead?
Now I'm covered. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. I think can still sustain themselves. They must still run their own business because they have learned from you. So make sure that you capacitate them, and please continue to have the meetings with them to make sure that you avoid this fight of the communities and so on. Because if the fights are continuing to be there, they're gonna make your project to stuck. So we don't want to see that. Yeah, but nevertheless, thank you very much, DG, and the Safcol department. Safcol committees, the chair and other staff that are there. Thank you very much. We are really appreciated for your presentation. I think all members of the community are very happy for your presentation. Thank you very much. You are released.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Long live, Chair.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Long live.
And long live.
Long live.
Thank you, Chair and CEO.
Bye-bye.